Hi everyone, this is Joseph from English with Joseph. Today I would like to talk to you about common mistakes which people make when they are learning English. Now, some of these mistakes are, you could say, geo-centered, and that means that particular parts of the world make particular mistakes. For example, Spanish people often confuse the letter V and B. For example, if we think of victory in English, victory, or viceroy, or the name Victor. For Spanish people, that often becomes Victor, or Victor, or Victor, or Victory, Victory. And that's not correct. They're two very distinct sounds, and the letter V is v, maybe the sound of the Hoover makes, or the vacuum cleaner. Victory. And of course the letter B is a much harder ba, ba, ba. But not all cultures in the world have that mistake. That's a peculiarly Spanish thing. And not even a Latin thing, that is just a Spanish thing. Okay, so that would be one mistake relevant to Spanish people, but there are other more common mistakes which go across the world. One of these is the pronunciation of the vowels. Now, you know I talk a lot about accent reduction, but a very common mistake is the letter E and the letter I. Now, watch again, the letter E, E, and I. So if we look at the word, for example, inside, inside, and then we look at the word eggs, eggs. Many people have said to me that they can't actually hear a difference in the different ways these two letters sound. And it's true that it's sometimes hard to hear that difference, but the difference is there. Okay, so let's look at that again. I, E, and you can see with the E, the mouth still goes down, but this time a little bit wide. E, I. Okay, so back to our words. Inside and eggs. Now they do sound the same, but this mouth movement, if it's done correctly, changes the sound into what it should be. So as long as you have the mouth movement correct, you're going to have the correct sound. E, I, and of course the other letters there. O, much more rounded sound, you can see. So these are just a few examples of the common mistakes that people make. I suppose the other most common mistake that people make across the world, if I can speak about learners in general, would be articles. There seems to be this mass confusion about when an article is required and when it's not, and that's something which seems to be ongoing. I think a lot of countries in the world don't use articles, and some countries use articles to death. But the golden rule is in English that everything which doesn't have a name should have an article. If it's a noun, the cup, or a cup. A is one, the cup is one which you already know, and that can change very quickly. For example, I was walking down a street one day, and when I was in the street, this happened. So as soon as you've mentioned it once, you can move on to the. Of course, the plural of both of those would be some streets. Okay. There are exceptions for things which you do regularly. Okay, for example, I'm going to work. Work isn't really a noun anyway, it's more of an idea. You wouldn't say I'm going to the work. You would say I'm going to work. I'm going to work. I'm going to school. And again, it's because you're meeting the ideas rather than meeting the actual building. And the same thing applies when you say to your friends, yeah, I'm at university, because you're not talking about the actual place, you're talking about the idea of the thing that you do. Yeah? For example, I'm going to collect my friends at the airport means you're going to the building. Yeah? If you think I'm at university, you're not thinking of the actual university building, you're thinking of the concept of what you're doing these days. Of course, if someone says, where are you? You can say, oh, I'm at the office, or I'm at work, but I'm in the office. Okay, so the article needs to be there unless you're talking about the idea of the thing, or of course unless you're talking about things which you do regularly. For example, I'm at work. Articles are needed for country names, especially those which have plurals. For example, think of the Netherlands because it ends in an S, the Philippines because it ends in an S. But other countries, you don't. Imagine I'm going to Russia. You don't say the Russia. Okay? You don't say I'm going to the Sweden, but you would say I'm going to the United States and the United Kingdom, because remember we're talking there about something which is made up of many parts. And besides, countries have official names. You can't really call them nouns. Okay? And likewise, if you say I'm going north or south, you also wouldn't need to have an article. I'm going to the north, I'm going to the south. Although sometimes people do use an article there. I'm going to the north, I'm going to the south. Okay, part of that is cultural. But the idea is, if you're talking about an idea, then there's no article. Okay, but if you're talking about a specific building, place, anything you can see and touch, you would need the article. If it's a name, you don't. You can't say, for example, I'm going to see the Joseph. You would say, I'm going to see Joseph. I'm going to see the English teacher. I'm going to see my English teacher. Okay, there's a lot of things there to think about, and I can't stress enough, it's only with practice that you'll really get your idea about this correct. And as I'm always saying, the correct way to learn English is through conversation. And I know there's that voice inside your head which says, but I don't want to talk to anyone, I want to keep people away from me, I want to buy a box set with 100 CDs which will teach me everything. That's very good, but I used to be like that, and you're missing out so much on the beauty of meeting other people and learning from them, because you have to learn how English is applied, how it shapes our reality, and how it shapes our culture. Well, I hope this has been very helpful. I will continue to do these little tips and tricks. Today we spoke about the article. Tomorrow I'll move on and talk about another one to try and give our podcast a little bit of a theme for the next few days. Remember, you can catch me on Facebook, facebook.com/EnglishWithJoseph. You can catch me on Twitter, McTaggartJ7 is my username there. You can have a look at my all-new blog, which is englishwithjosephblog.wordpress.com. You can also see my video clips here. The links, by the way, to these sites are above this video clip in the Dailymotion window if you're watching it on Dailymotion. You can also see my books on Amazon. If you do have a look at my Amazon page, you can click into it from the links above. Please do feel free to purchase something. If you don't want to purchase something, drop me an email and I'm happy to send you the book if you are watching this video clip. Other things that I'm involved with, well, seems to have 100 different projects. I'm also on YouTube to redirect people back to my Dailymotion video clips, so you can find me on there as well. So if you could go and like my pages, that would be very, very good. Any questions, comments, or feedback, please do drop me a comment here on Dailymotion, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you find me. Okay, so thank you for your attention today, and we will see each other again, hopefully tomorrow. Okay, take care and have a fantastic day. Thank you. Bye bye.